G'day everybody, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Sunday, the 31st of October 2021, and the time here is 09:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. All right, folks, sorry about that. As usual, plenty to go through. Let's get into it. Here is my sponsor, Totally Rawsome, who make golden activated turmeric paste and other items for you and your pets. As I've said before, folks, if you haven't tried it, you're missing out. Excuse me. And this stuff does work, folks. Honestly, I'd be lost without it. My knees would be knackered. I couldn't actually walk properly if I didn't have this stuff. The pig's ears and the dog treats, the dogs love them as well. I give them to my dogs. All up, just very, very good stuff. And the proof's in the pudding. It gets recommended highly by everybody that tries it, and somebody else takes it. Contact 0433 165 848 and info@totallyrawsome.com.au. Okay. As regards to my last video, I had some, sorry about the hair, had some knockback as regards to, oh, you told us, you'd help us, and then now you're saying when I'm not your nanny and blah, 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 blah. Okay, listen, that's probably a fair comment, but in every stage in a battle or a war, if you want to call it a war, and here's the other thing, you guys need to understand that we are actually, or you and me, everybody is in a war at the moment. Let that sink in. Okay, you might not have a gun and you might not be running down the road chasing tanks and blowing up things, but you're in a war, and it's getting heavier and heavier. That's why they're telling you have to do things. Remember, the Nazis took over Germany in 32, 33, and it took them many years to assimilate the population to the point where, you got the 70-30 thing or the 80-20. That didn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. That's not how it works. But here's the thing. And it surprises me, 300,000 people, nearly 400,000 if I remember, left Germany when the Nazis took power in 33 or 32, or sorry, whichever year it was. So whichever year the Nazis took power, nearly 400,000 Germans left Germany, got on boats, planes, whatever they could get out, trains, and got out of the country straight away. The others that stayed because they literally thought that they were Germans and they were fine. The others, this included Germans, not Jewish Germans, which is a bad misnomer, isn't it? So the Jewish Germans who could left, said to their cousins, relatives, get out now while you can, right? A lot of them went to England, a lot of them went to America. And the other ones just said, no, it's never going to get that bad. Don't be stupid. They all died. Well, as we know, the majority of them died. Not all of them died, but the majority of them died. And went through unspeakable, just unspeakable horrors. But see, the thing was, at the beginning, they had the choice to get out, but they chose not to. Excuse me. So it's kind of working the same way now. You have people who wanted to get the vaccine, got the vaccine. And you have people who don't want to get the vaccine. But it's the 70-30, 80-20 thing. So they've got to get the 80-20 or tell people that they're at the 70-30 to be able to turn the 70% onto the 30% and say, well, you 70% have had the vaccine. You've done the right thing. That 30%, those scowless dogs, look what they've done. But it's kind of unraveling on them because they've got all these sports people who now want to come to Australia to play things and they're not taking the vaccine. Saying, well, we've got the Australian Open here in January and half of the people that are coming have either had COVID and are not going to take the vaccine or they're just not going to take the vaccine. That's half of the tennis players are not vaccinated. So they're in a bit of a quandary at the moment, like, oh shit, how are we going to pull this off? And guess who's not vaccinated? The majority of the better players. So this is where it all comes down to. Now, yeah, it might have been a bit harsh to say, oh, I'm not your nanny, blah, blah, blah. But what I was trying to get to was, listen, at every point in a war, there's a turning point where the people get off their ass and start doing stuff. The Battle of Britain, I think the people in Britain, always thought that there's no way that Germany was going to take Britain. But geez, when it came close, then they got motivated and they were like, whoa, hang on a minute. This can't be happening. So you see my point. There's always that confluence of people who are just like, she'll be right, mate. Don't worry about it. We'll get by. But they're the people that need to get off their ass. Because until they've got a red hot poker sticking up their ass, they're not going to do anything. And then, they'll still be looking behind them going, wow, shit, what was that? Not realizing that they're in a war. You are in a war. For all intents and purposes, you are in a war. Probably happened a lot quicker than people were thinking. Well, but I've got to be honest, it did. But there's nothing else I can tell you. And it's not going to be over in 6 months, 3 months, 2 weeks. This is going to go on for years, folks. From today, for the next 5, 10 years, until either A, we're all dead, or B, we cut out all the rot and get rid of the rot that's dead. So you need to actually start functioning principally first for yourself, because as I've always said, you are no good to anyone else if you haven't prepared yourself first. And what does that mean? Taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. Because I'm telling you, people lean on you in the future and you're not ready, then you're going to fold. So you've got to have a bit of steel in your belly, a bit of steel in your brain, and a bit of steel in your heart. That's how this works. Because if you don't believe me, go back and watch the videos of 1933 to 40 and what happened to all the Jews. Not just the Jews, by the way, because a lot of people forget that 3 million people, other people, disabled people, gypsies, Romanovs, gays, basically anybody that they didn't like, coloured people, anyone who had a different coloured skin, religion, all these other people, 3 million of them were persecuted to death. So it's kind of like a bit of a misnomer. Yeah, 6 million Jews died, I think it was, or something like that. But so did 3 million other people that we all forget about. So my point is, start standing up for yourself. Stop looking around the corner for salvation to come. Salvation can only come from within, folks. Yeah, God might help you and give you a hand here and there, but it's got to start with you first. You can't search for God if you don't know who God is, can you? And you can't search, there's no point searching for help, as I've said before, right? Unless you're prepared to help. If you're going to be a drag on everybody else, then I'm sorry, but people are just going to go, hey, mate, look, you better find your own way. You know, it's kind of like that bloke who rocks up at a party at 11 o'clock at night with no alcohol because he's going to drink everybody else's. Well, sorry, mate, party's over. See you later. So let me read you something which was quite disturbing, okay, on the comments. Let me get to that now. And it's this comment here, guys. Beautiful, beautiful life. My brother died on September the 1st after having the poison injection. No pre-existing conditions. It caused GBS, a condition where the immune system attacks the nervous system. He was in a coma for almost 3 weeks, then turned off his life support. I reported it to TGA and his neurologist admitted it was caused by the injection. They still haven't done autopsy. We can't bury him yet. Okay, that's gut-wrenching, honestly. And as I've said, and I want to be very clear in this, 3 people in my family have had the injection that live in this house. 3 haven't. So, and the 3 that haven't are going to take it. And we are suffering because of the other 3 that have had it. We've got headaches and feel sick and bloody real lethargic at times, etc., etc. And I've noticed it goes in peaks and troughs, very much so. So I don't know what the cause of that is, but you know, we've all mentioned it. All of us have mentioned it. So to that person there, beautiful life, you know, look, what do you say? And as I said, I'm not anti-vax. I am not anti-vax. I'm sure there's 3 people, the older people that need it and people who are immune compromised that do need it, and they should have had it. And I can tell you right now, me sitting here in this chair, I know of my dad, for example, now has cancer on his lung. Now, the extraordinary thing there, right, he's had double vaxxed. After his double vax, right, he got his second vax, he started coughing and he couldn't stop coughing. Right? Now, my dad has CPD, which is a pulmonary condition, mainly because of the things he used to do for work. He owned an earth moving business, so he was always working in dust, and it's basically a work environment condition where your lung capacity is reduced because you didn't used to wear masks and you've got dust and shit, kind of like being a stonemason. Now, my old man he has scans every year, you know, for this condition all the time. And all of a sudden he's got a 200 mil, a 20 centimeter tumor in his lung, literally overnight. That's one person. I didn't say anything. I just went, oh, okay, Dad. I said, well, how did they miss that? I said, you know, you have countless scans and bloody tests and blood tests and this and that and everything else. To keep him going, they've had to give him massive iron injections. Like, sounds like a different person, but that's how bad he was. Massive iron injections, injections of iron into his body to make him feel better. 3 people I know have got diabetes. These are people that I know. My son's carer got the second vax the other day. Excuse me. And haven't heard hide nor hair of him since. He's been that sick. Look, I don't know. Look, here's what I know. Here's what I do know. If this was a normal vaccine, which it's not, it's a gene therapy, why is it killing people? That's my question. Because vaccines shouldn't kill people. Yeah, you have the occasional, reaction, etc. Not to this extent. Why is it killing people? Why is no one saying, why is this killing people? And the simple answer is because you're in a war and they don't want you to know. So getting back to my original thing here, mind, body, spirit. Well, that's not the only thing you can do. Because if you haven't noticed, we are on the precipice of an almighty crash. How long they can keep this going? I mean, I've been saying this for years, absolute years. How long they can keep this going is anybody's guess. But it's not going to last forever. And look, for all of you out there who haven't got an acre of land, or you've only got a minimal amount of land, here's what I was going to say the other day. You can grow vegetables in just about anything. If you can't afford to go and buy raised garden beds, etc., go and buy some plastic containers, right? If there's 4 of you in your family, right, you can go and buy plastic containers. You can even get them from Salvos or whatever, and you can put organic soil in them, and you can grow vegetables, herbs. You can grow just about anything you want in them. Just drill some holes in the bottom. There you go. Away you go. It's just down to you to get the sand, the soil. It's one of those things. It's really crucial because, like I said, wake up, Australia. We're in a war. You're in a war. You're actually in a war. It's not going to end tomorrow. It's not going to end next week, next month, next year. It's going to go on for years. And you physically have to sit down and ask yourself, what are you prepared to do in the future, starting now? Like, ask yourself that question. Starting now, what am I prepared to do? Am I prepared to help other people out, etc., etc.? Well, as I said, the first thing you need to do is help yourself. You can't help anybody unless you help yourself. And to all you dads out there who've got families, etc., knock off the grog, start concentrating, get yourself in shape, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Because here's one other thing I was going to say. If you haven't taken the jab yet, and you're not going to take the jab yet, have you asked yourself why? I know that's going to sound like a weird question, but have you asked yourself why? And I can guarantee you a vast majority of it will be spiritual, because you're like, man, I ain't taking that. No way. You don't know why, but you just know in your brain and in your heart that it's the wrong thing to do. And if that's the case, the same as me, then it's a spiritual choice, and you need to recognize that. Something inside you, or something is telling you that this is inherently bad, evil, if you want, and you're not going to go along with it. A man without convictions is no man at all. Famous saying. And as Winston Churchill said, courage is the number one of all virtues, because it's from courage that all other virtues flow or come from. So if you're prepared to stand up for your convictions and have the courage to do that, then everything else will flow from that decision. Good or bad, you got to make that decision. Okay? So, I've just read one of the things that from someone who wrote in and said their brother died from getting this shot. That sounds extreme to me. And listen, it's not the only one. Look, emails, etc. Just horrific shit. People writing to me saying, my boss has told me I've got to get the jab. Well, he's not your boss anymore, mate. The day he told you that you had to get it, he stopped being your boss and he was a dictator. A mini dictator. Because if someone wanted you to work for him and you were a good employee and everything, I think they wouldn't even ask. That's my opinion. But each of you needs to make that decision. Now, for all you men out there, sorry to say this, but I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. For all you men out there, you now need to actually remember what it's like to be a man, and you need to actually stand up and say, enough of this bullshit. That's the line in the sand. I'm not going over there, and they're not coming over here. And as I said, courage and conviction. Courage and conviction. You have to have the courage. And these are not easy things to say and do. Because remember, I've got 3 people in my family who've had the shot. One of them's my wife. And she wants to go traveling. And I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'll go anywhere you want. But whether people will let me go there is another thing. Now, when people, and here's what makes me laugh. So budget airlines were started because of the fact they wanted to, the scummy type of people to fly everywhere. Well, when those people say they're not taking the jab and they're not flying anywhere and the airlines start to collapse, that's when the 70-30 and the 80-20 thing comes into play, folks, because the airline industry, the government will turn around and say, well, it's their fault because they won't get the vaccine. That's where this is going. And I'm telling you, you better be strong now for the future, because we have not even begun to start this bullshit yet, folks. You think this is bullshit now? That's why I've said, don't run down hallways being an albatross, because that's not going to get you anywhere. And we've only just started. It makes me laugh. I read comments from people and they say, oh, Facebook and this and that and everything. Listen, if if you're still on Facebook or you're on Twitter or you are on any of those at all, you are part of the problem. You need to go like that. Click. Honestly, you're part of the problem. Do you not understand that? If you're on Facebook, if you're a woman who's, the majority of people on Facebook are women, by the way, in my comment section. I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems to be. You need to get off Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any of these things. You need to shut them down now. It just baffles my mind that people are in a war and wondering why things aren't working out when they're doing exactly what the other side wants them to do. The art of war. The art of war. It makes no sense for you to be on any of these platforms, folks. Honestly, this is the last video that I'm doing on YouTube because they've told me that I have to sign up for all these things and give them proof of, like what they asked me. I just said, "You're kidding. No way." So this will be the last ever YouTube video, and all the rest will now be on another platform, BitChute, Gab, whatever I can get on. Because like I said to you, we're in a war. Why would I want to use YouTube when A, I don't have to, and B, when they've told me that I have to supply all this personal information so that I can continue to use YouTube? There's the bird. See you later. Exactly. Right. So my point in all this is stand up, stop pandering, stop procrastinating, and start doing something for yourself. What I mean yourself, I mean you, the bloke who's sitting there watching this. Because I have to be honest, I see a lot more of the women that write on this thing are a lot more proactive than the men. And I can honestly say I know why. It's probably because the men are worried about, you know, supplying their family with things that they need. But I can see this big groundswell in the future of a community-based thing for people like all of us. So take heart, mind, body, spirit. It's a really easy premise, folks, honestly. If you're a man of conviction, which I am, always have been, then, you know, this will make you guys laugh. If you're from America and the UK, you might not know about this. But here in Australia, they've got $1 million lottery for getting the jab. So you go and get the jab, you can go in this lottery to win $1 million. That's how pathetic this is. Now, as a person of conviction, I see that and I just go, that's just crazy. You know, if you weren't a man of conviction, you'd see that and go, wow, $1 million. What can I do for $1 million? Oh, I know. It's not important. And that's what I meant by not being an albatross and running down hallways going, wings flapping in the air. Get rid of all that other shit that's not important. Concentrate, number one, on yourself, and then number two, on your family. And then number three, after you've got all that sorted out, community. That's how this is going to work. Because if you come to me and want to join a community that I'm based in, and you rock up, you got no shoes on, you're wearing a pair of shorts because you couldn't find your shirt, and you've got 5 kids in tow, what are you offering me? Take that back a notch. I've got a bloke who's rocked up. He's got backpack on, full camo gear, weaponry, bag of seeds, and each of his kids has got a bag of seeds and a backpack and everything else on. Who's more impressive? Who's there? Which one of those people is there to help build a community? Now you might be saying, "Oh, you can't turn the kids away." I probably wouldn't. But my point is that one's a freeloader, let's be honest, and the other one is a participant, a builder. One's a freeloader, one's a participant and a builder of that community. So think about that. That's the most important thing that I can say to you today, because like I said, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, whenever it is, that's going to be the most crucial thing, folks. You don't think I'm right? Let's see how it plays out. Righto, let's do the prayers. Okay. Ephesians 2:8-9, King James Version. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Wow. After what I just said, that's pretty pertinent, isn't it? Okay, and as always, folks, we'll finish with the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Alrighty. Last YouTube video, all done and dusted, all on BitChute from now on. God bless all. Be strong. Stay strong. Get fit. Get spiritual. God bless. Prep out.